Morning, everyone. Good morning. The Victoria Arts Council and Creative Mornings respectfully acknowledges the Lekwungen-speaking people within whose traditional territory we operate, and we give thanks to the Esquimalt, Songhees, and Wassanic First Nations. We raise our hands we raise our hands in gratitude to the ancestors, the matriarchs, hereditary leaders, and the artists from these lands. And we give thanks for the privilege of living and working here. My name is Kagan McFadden, and I'm the Executive Director of the Victoria Arts Council and co-lead of Creative Mornings. And I want to also acknowledge we're not in Victoria Arts Council this morning. We're actually live on location at Dance Victoria. So thank you so much to Dance Victoria for partnering with Creative Mornings and Victoria Arts Council. Thank you to Jillian and Kira for helping organize this event. So I'm going to pass it over to Kosar, and we'll get this party going.
Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to Creative Mornings. Creative Mornings is a global organization, and we're just one part of it. The theme for January is Rise, and this was chosen by the Tampa Bay chapter of Creative Mornings. And the illustration, which is this one, is by an artist named Miss Crit. And so they have a little write-up about the theme they've chosen, and here it is. The sun must set before it can rise. So remember, every setback can be overcome. Each new challenge compels us to tap into our reservoirs of hope and determination to live a fulfilling life. We must now wallow. We must rise. We rise from everything that came before. That's why Rise Up is a rally cry for the oppressed. But we should all be shouting because our personal and collective empowerments are intricately linked. The rise of different voices creates a richer and more vibrant society. The goal is not reaching the top, it's lifting each other up. Together, we rise together. I'd like to thank our sponsors, who are the City of Victoria and the CRD, for their continuous support, as well as HCMA, an architecture firm that designs buildings, brands, and shared experiences that connect people. And as you know, we're from the Victoria Arts Council. In January, in collaboration with the Intercultural Association of Victoria, we are hosting a group exhibition named You Are Welcome. It includes 10 artists from diverse international backgrounds who are new to calling Victoria home. And each piece recalls the artist's homeland through the lens of Vancouver Island. We're on 1800 Store Street, open Wednesday to Sunday, 12 to 5 p.m. It's totally free, and it's open until March 3rd. So please give us a visit. And in addition, we have a number of community satellite galleries around town, including at public libraries of Greater Victoria or the International Airport, where we show different artists' works. You can always visit our website to see where they are. And today we're thrilled to have Lesley, which I will pass to Jillian to introduce more. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Kosar. Hello and good morning. My name is Jillian Jones. I'm the Executive Director at Dance Victoria. And it's a pleasure to host Creative Mornings and this conversation with Lesley Telford today. Dance Victoria brings dance companies from around the world to Victoria. We support local artists with residencies, studio space, and performance opportunities, and we provide access to live performance through our Pay Your Age, Nutcracker Kids, and Dances for Everyone programs. Each winter, we organize dance days. This is 10 days of free adult dance classes and events happening all over town. Dance Days officially starts today, and there are over 80 free programs happening through February 4th. And you can check those out on our website. There's a Dance Days calendar at dancevictoria.com. It's now my pleasure to introduce Lesley Telford. Based in Vancouver, Lesley is an acclaimed choreographer, educator, and the executive artistic director of Inverso Productions. She danced professionally with Les Grands Ballets Canadiens, Compañía Nacional de Danza in Spain, and Netherlands Dance Theatre 1, where she worked with choreographers such as Yuri Killian, Paul Lightfoot, Sol Leon, William Forsythe, Ohad Naharin, Johan Inger, and Crystal Pite. That's an amazing list. She has been commissioned to choreograph for many renowned companies, including Ballet BC, Les Grands, Netherlands Dance Theatre 1, Hubbard Street Dance Company 2, and Arts Umbrella. Lesley founded Inverso Productions to experiment with other art forms and ways of creating dance. Personally, I'll just share that it's been so powerful to have Lesley in our studios with her collaborators over the past couple of weeks. We've seen the impact of this project, and especially the care that Lesley brings to this work at the intersection of contemporary dance, intergenerational programs, and seniors advocacy. Thank you and welcome to Lesley.
Thanks so much, Jillian. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. It's been such a pleasure to have 2 weeks here in Victoria, extending our project, Borrowed Time. And I'm thrilled to be here at Creative Mornings. When I was asked to present on the theme Rise, it felt so meaningful. A major part of our project, Borrowed Time, is about holding each other up. Sometimes in the process of holding others you care about up, you're realizing they're actually the ones holding you up. I experienced that in my life and artistic practice, and that felt, so valuable to share. So we embarked upon this project with my company, Inverso Productions, about a year ago. When I think back to where it all began, the seeds were sparked by a conversation I had during a workshop with Indigenous artist Margaret Grenier. She spoke about the way her goal in her artistic practice was in parallel to her family goals and even how she treated the land. And me as a professional dance artist and single mother and a caregiver for my mom, I felt quite the opposite of that. I felt pulled in 3 directions, and I thought, like, it gave me I remember the feeling of being wowed at the simplicity and beauty of that comment, and I made a little mental note of making that a mission. So this was a way. You never know where a project starts, but this was a way of bringing together a few aspects of my life. What I was experiencing as a daughter, as a mother, in the so-called sandwich generation, those joys, gems, and responsibilities and stress. As a caregiver, I became an involved seniors advocate over the pandemic. And this project also brought my angle as a dance artist, and I've been at this for quite some time, and it's I was trying to reimagine what my role is in dance as I was going through all of these other life events. During the pandemic, I was so involved fighting for my mother who was in care. I didn't think there would be much energy left for creative work, but this has been a very special journey and a bit of a surprise one. So I met 2 of the older adults in this work at Inverso's classes. I opened some classes to the community, and there was a bit of a spontaneous spark. We were involved in a rehearsal process with 3 professional dancers I had invited in, and I tend to do these things, and it was, I just said, do you mind staying for rehearsal? They were in class, and I said, do you think you could stay? And they said, well, maybe not today, but I could do it next week. So I invited Barbara Karmazine and Kirsten Ludich, who are involved community dancers in Vancouver, into the project. Barbara is 76. And so she made her professional debut at 76, which is, so if you're seeing the show on Saturday, you'll see her perform. So the work Borrowed Time is a dance piece that is about the way we care for each other across generations. In the studio, we spoke about the way strength and vulnerability are demonstrated in different phases of our lives. Everyone brought stories, shared them. We moved, improvised, chatted, had dinners together, and just basically enjoyed the company of artists from 26 to 76. And I think the experience we've had together shows in the work. There are 5 dancers in the piece, a mix of professional and community dancers with different approaches to movement. We played with images relating to threads of connection, found some common physical language, talked about freedom, restriction, finding our place, feeling pulled in multiple directions, letting go, holding each other up. So in this work are Justin Calvadoris, Marissa Gold, Daria Mikhailik, Barbara Karmazine, and Kirsten Lutic. The past 2 weeks, we've been in residency at Dance Victoria. We put a call out for participants and received a lot of interest. And 8 people were able to commit to the work. We've had 6 rehearsals. Thanks for sharing that. We've had 6 rehearsals of 2 hours per rehearsal and have gotten to know some beautiful people here in Victoria, and they're going to be a part of our show. It's been such a joy to have them in the room. They have taken this brave leap to join us, and yeah, their magic is obvious through some of the photos that Dana Sindrowski is the right way to say it. Yeah, Dana Sindrowski took some photos of our process. So in this slideshow, Marissa Gold, who you see in the first image, is speaking about her experience in the process and just offers a glimpse of what we've been living through.
Being a part of this process, borrowed time, has truly been meaningful for me. It's quite a rare opportunity to be able to share in creative process across generations like this. Hearing everyone's stories, connecting with their experiences, and learning from their generosity in the room has been a gift. Our rehearsal space is one of care. The sensitivity we have developed through our time together over the past year is precious, and so bringing 8 more dancers into this experience has truly been a joy. This work reminds me of the ever-moving flow of existence and how privileged we are in each stage of life to bear witness to it.
So I thank Marissa for her beautiful contribution. She has been incredibly sensitive through this whole process of really aware of extra needs and just paying attention. It's been so beautiful. So we've all learned so much from each other. It's definitely not a one-way street. That's been the exciting part, and all of the surprises and the laughs and the I hope we can. The other day Carla said, "Can I skip?" I thought that was excellent. And so I just wanted to mention a little bit about the way this connects to some of the work I was doing as an advocate. And I didn't see it very clearly at the beginning. During the pandemic, my mom was in care, and I spoke out for her and took on the role of speaking for all those who it seemed were forgotten. And So it brought me to establish an advocacy group at her care home. And this was at a time when we couldn't, there was no sharing amongst other families. The only way I could share the news that I was trying to create, like some Zoom calls, some collective action, was to like wait out in the parking lot for people and hand out my email saying, if you want to reach out, we're trying to collect families together. This is how I started. And so we tried to meet and bring our voices together to just be able to work with care homes to make life just improve quality of life. Find ways to connect without it being in a safe way. And the last time I was in Victoria, I was actually speaking at the BC Care Providers Association, which I was invited by the Alzheimer's Society, who are doing wonderful work. And I was speaking out on the importance and the intrinsic role of family caregivers, who were called visitors, but we felt it was so strange to be called visitors during the pandemic, because it seemed so obvious how essential that was. Anyways, so I was speaking about the ways we could mend relationships and build trust again between family members and care providers. Now, this feels quite far away from making a dance piece, but the fight made me think of like, it felt like a brick wall. And my mom was very clear about, I think it's more about acceptance, which was a hard lesson for me. So this kind of brought me to, well, instead of fighting, what can we add? And then I'm like, well, actually, oh my goodness, my whole background is actually perfectly situated for what can we add? So that bridge between the arts and fighting for rights, it doesn't have to be a hard fight. I'm trying to take a soft fight approach. And actually it's lighter and it's more fun and less stressful. And I can see where joy is possible. And actually that's what's needed in care, is little moments of joy, moments to share. And so actually through that, I actually started taking courses in gerontology recently so that I knew what I was talking about. And yeah, it's in long-term care environments, there's often very little to look forward to. I was learning that, gosh, there's been studies that 40% of people in care are depressed, are clinically depressed. That's not okay. We need more moments to share things. It's not like a performance is going to solve everything, but shifting culture, making it a priority to share events with families and those in care is a huge priority for me and for Inverso. And so we started doing performances recently at care homes. Yeah, I'll go into the next slide, actually. So this is all sparked by my mom, who Sandy Telford. She is an incredible person who did a lot of work for care. She set up a special care unit for Alzheimer's care. Her team practiced the gentle care philosophy and made an incredible difference in managing those with very challenging behaviors. She led with care and compassion, the best listener. Her legacy is what drives me to find my own way to add joy, listen, and share in this experience of living across generations. So that was my daughter in there, who's also kind of an incredible inspiration to me. And this is an image of us performing at Delta View with this work. And we had great conversations with people afterwards. One man told me about how he used to dance ballroom, and he made a few suggestions to our work, which was great. And it just felt like a way that life and art felt like a really great partnership. So actually, I think I have a few more notes, but that's basically what I wanted to say today. Yeah, I think I'll open it up to
Perfect.
questions.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Maybe can we put our hands together for Lesley? If anyone in the Zoom room has questions, please feel free to comment or raise your hand. And everyone in the room also, if you'd like to ask anything, the conversation is open. I really enjoyed what you said about adding something instead of resisting. That's not necessarily a question, but I was wondering if you could elaborate on that, or like how the other participants relationship change once, instead of resisting, you were adding or bringing your own thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it actually like set us up in a sort of state of flow, like
Yeah.
things spontaneously happened.
Hmm.
I mean, even choreography, sometimes it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You're like thinking of cool moves.
Yeah.
Building concept, thinking of cool moves. I mean, Barbara, who is 76, who's dancing with us. One day we were set up. I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to do a little demo. We were set up, and people were behind her, and it looked like she was wearing them. And so she walked along, and they kind of dropped off. It just happened naturally, this moment. And she said, she shook everything, and she's like, oh, now I'm free. And she did a little bouncy dance, and that was her solo. Her bouncy dance became, her solo was her freedom of letting go of those responsibilities of being a caregiver for her children, and her lightness, and how she built a 2-minute solo out of an image, out of a feeling, and it was ease. And I was like, wow, that's something to learn from. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Were there others?
There are surprises every day. I'm trying to think of like other particular moments. I mean, working with 8 dancers here was a great surprise. I didn't know what I was signing up for. I thought it was a great idea. And I really wanted to and I would like to tour and bring this and share this with different communities and invite local people from the community to join us. But I didn't, there's a huge range of abilities. There's some older professional dancers with a ton of experience. There was a woman who said, I love moving, I freestyle, I don't have any training background. So I opened it up to anyone who identified as a mover, as an older mover. And so there was a range of ages. And the surprise was the beautiful involvement, as you see from the images, the beautiful involvement with sometimes a comment. It wasn't, the surprise was that it wasn't a lot of work. It was sharing an idea and coming into the space together. And yeah. And I find it's the younger professional dancers who keep going, oh my gosh, I'm learning so much. That they were talking, we were chatting the other day, and actually being here was like beautiful in so many ways, because we were sharing an Airbnb and we got to chat more, and we, spent more of life together, and like not just in the studio. Tour is great for that. And they were chatting about how normally when you're dancing professionally, you are you're really focused on your body and fine-tuning intricacies, which is gorgeous. Like I love that work. I've been involved in that work for years, and like finding your own inner meaning, but it can go inwards. It can be very individual. Of course, you're working on the connections, but it's a lot of inner work. And they were saying, just putting that on the side and paying more attention to others allowed us to actually deepen our inner work by actually seeing others and seeing the direct engagement with purpose of some others in the room who might have approached it from a different angle. Yeah, and that was really great.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Jennifer has a question, and then Bree has their hand raised. So
Oh, great.
Jennifer asks, how was the performance received in the care facility we saw in the slides? If you have more specifics.
Yes, well, there was one woman who spoke throughout, who said, "Please get me out of here." Actually, and Barbara reached over to her at a certain moment and said, "It's okay," and she calmed down and wouldn't let go of her hand. I think she did a bit of her solo holding her hand, and things like that were so wonderful. Yeah, it was received really beautifully, and I was wondering, like, would contemporary dance read in that environment? You know, you go, okay, right now we're in a stage space, and you can kind of create something special, but we were under fluorescent lights, and you know, you're not quite sure if it's like too out there. We did a reduced version, but so everyone said how beautiful it was, and how they were really appreciating seeing different ages. There was one man who came into the performance playing his harmonica. And we have a moment at the beginning. I should have done a recording. We could have pulled it into the piece. Too late now. Carl, if you're out there. Anyway, so there's a moment in silence at the beginning of the piece, and I went over to him and I said, "Hey, do you mind keeping us company for the part that's in silence?" And so he played a little tune on the harmonica at the beginning, and it was so great. Yeah.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Bree, we are ready to hear your question if you'd like to unmute yourself.
Hi, Bree.
Hi, Lesley. It's so wonderful to see you. First of all, I just want to say thank you to Dance Victoria for hosting this. It's been a great way to like start my morning in such a creative and open-minded space. So thank you for that. I'm just gonna lower my hand because it's telling me to. Lesley, there's so much that you've spoken about in terms of care. And you mentioned earlier about how there's so much to learn from care, especially as movers. That was really profound for me. I was reflecting on this idea that we can arrive at what we're trying to make without excessive force. You know what I mean? And so I guess like my question or my proposal to you is just kind of like how did you in the mutual exchange of care, if there were moments where you or your dancers felt like there needed to be extra force, or just that like voice in the head that's saying like you're not enough, you're not doing enough, push more, squeeze more, you know, those like vampire voices.
Totally.
How did you quiet those and sort of remember the care?
Oh, that's such a good question. They still exist, those vampire voices. But oh, how did you quiet? I think just the presence, just all being together, they creeped up more when we were alone. Sorry. They creeped up more when we were alone and just focusing on the dance moves, you know? So we did have moments where the three professional dancers were together because we didn't want to overtax the time of some of the older participants. But I think just having that presence in the space made it's instantly less about that. It's just by the shared space. And because there were also other needs in the room, and we had to, in order to do this all together, we had to back off and not like push on the gas like at full speed all the time, and actually learned a ton by doing that. And like there's still full on dancing within the piece, but it's just situated in a different way. And yeah, we kind of came at it through conversations. Like one of the most intense solos was Justin saying, like we were talking about like our family constellations and where we kind of situate ourselves within our families, and that kind of, so we talked about our different roles, and Justin was mentioning there was like a searching for identity, a searching for direction. And so their solo is really all about that. And it's intense and hard, but it's all in relationship to the people who are around the room. So even though it kind of found that intensity, it wasn't about how good is this. So that actually felt really valuable. Yeah. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
asking that.
Yeah, thank you. It's so lovely to see you. And I'm tuning in from Toronto, so I won't be able to see the show, but all the best for the process.
Thank you so much. Sending kisses. Bye.
Thank you, Bree. Any other questions in the room or?
I have a comment question.
Mhm.
So at the Victoria Arts Council, we work a lot with artists at all stages of their development. And in particular, a lot of senior women artists, visual artists primarily. And so I was so excited to learn about Rise, or pardon me, Borrowed Time. And it's nice to see the stills from the rehearsal. And I think I might have seen a mix of genders in the cast.
Yes.
So that's fantastic. And so my question is around opening up barriers to access, in particular when it involves gender. And I think, it's not surprising that a lot of women think that they can't move in a certain way, especially if people are watching. And I wonder, from your perspective, what age brings to that conversation?
That's a great question. I'm learning. I am trying to find what are the ways we can kind of take away barriers to access, or I mean, it's also like where people feel they belong and opening it up. And if it's a space that they don't feel that's necessarily like their sense of belonging, how do you kind of extend an open hand and open door to say, you're welcome here? One of the ways I was trying to do this is by kind of a non-committal online class that, well, I shouldn't say class, just like a movement exchange, because we were like feeding off of each other as well. And having that be like a by donation online experience so that they could also get to know me before they committed. And I'd like to keep that going. I was really enjoying our like Wednesday morning online classes. And so I'd like to keep that going as we're potentially leading into some other tours and other engagements with local communities, because that, first of all, dance is like, performances are a blip on the radar. It happens and it's over. And there's a fallout, like we're all like, oh, it's over, we miss it. And that it gives a sense of continuity, and we can continuity of relationships, and also gives people a chance to maybe tiptoe in and peek at it. So test the waters. Regarding gender, I mean, we really try to be we are very inclusive in involving all genders with the professional dancers we're hiring. And I know David was like, is this only for older women? And I said, no, please join us. You are more than welcome. Gosh, it's a continual question, both with audience development and expanding the reach. When you know how beautiful and magical the arts can be, expanding access and the reach of like, what are the ways that we can propose this, that it feels like home, that it doesn't feel like in any way removed from someone's life. So I'm still asking all of those things and hoping to welcome people. Mhm. Yes.
Oh, good question. You shared with me, Lesley, in our conversation yesterday, that the next big project for you is going to Malta. To
Yeah.
choreograph for a company. And I'm
Mhm.
curious how this work, this kind of intergenerational project, is informing your work as a choreographer.
Oh, that's such a good question. And I'm in that zone of questioning too, as I realized that a lot of I'm trying to become a better listener too, of just like reading the room better and not have as much of, I mean, you're still coming with a core concept and movement vocabulary, but being good at reading the room of what's needed now, both in terms of energy and like what's sparking a little creative moment in people. And also, like, I have to say, my theme is always like quite closely connected. I was explaining previously to Jillian that the theme I'm working on in the company in Malta, it's called is inspired by these mother goddess sculptures that are these large, wide sculptures that kind of highlight this importance of those who came before us, but also just motherhood. And yeah, that's the basis of like how we're like fleshy failures trying to emulate this like iconic stone that we've kind of put up on a pedestal. Yeah, and that's what we're exploring there. So thematically definitely crosses over, but also in how to work with people. So thanks.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, this was lovely talking to you. Thank you to everyone on the online and in the room. Thank you, Lesley.
Thank you so much.